Hello, I'm going to be going over today some of the material that we were not able to go over in the Zoom session. And I'm going to be focusing right now on some of the budgeting examples. So let's take this time to review flexible budgets and static budgets, okay? I'm going to share my screen now, and we're going to discuss a demo problem. All right. Now, in today's session, we were able to look at static budgets and flexible budgets and the benefits of both. As you can see here in this example, this is a comparison of static and flexible budgeting. As we discussed in our class today, the flexible budget is so beneficial in terms of allowing us to evaluate budgets at different volume levels. So you can see that we have a couple different comparisons in terms of strengths and weaknesses. Mainly the static budget is very simple and the flexible budget is more complex, but the benefits are more, I think, expansive, and they give us more of a feel for where we're going. What I really want to get to today is the demo, okay? This is going to be an example I share with you in the announcement so you can work through it yourself. But I want to go over this flexible budget example with you. Here you can see we're given a couple of different assumptions, okay? We have indirect materials, indirect labor hours, supervisor salaries, depreciation, and utilities. So if we look here, there is a flexible overhead cost budget that we are given. Now, how did we come up with these figures? Well, let's take a closer look. As you can see here, these are the units of production. Do you see how they're giving us three different levels of units of production? We have 6,000, 8,000, and 10,000 units. Now, how did we come up with these cost figures? Well, the indirect materials, all you have to do is you take this unit amount, the 6,000, times your indirect cost per unit, which is the $2. 2 times 6 is the 12,000. We would do this for the same thing for every different production level. And it's really a matter of just taking the unit cost. For example, for labor, we would take the 150 times the 6,000 to give us the 9,000. Now the utilities is a little bit more tricky, I will admit. They say the utilities here, it's 25 cents a unit plus $3,000 fixed per month. So there is a fixed portion, which is the 3,000, but there's also this variable portion, the 25 cents per unit. 25 cents times 6,000 gives us this 1,500 right here. So as you can see, it's all just a matter of knowing where everything goes and establishing those production levels. The fixed costs here that you see, the 84,000 salaries and the depreciation are all given to us. So that part is not difficult. Now, once you have this information, you would combine the variable and fixed portions together to get a total overhead cost you would be able to use for your budget. How is this useful to you? Let's say that we're in production and we make, 8,000 widgets this month. We would use this 8,000 volume budgeting column here. But if we were using a static budget, how useful would that be? It wouldn't be, because we wouldn't be able to determine if that was adequate given the level of production that we were given. Now, we also talked about this in our session, the production budget. The production budget is focusing on how much needs to be made. We're going to be looking in this example at different units that are expected to be sold. Here is the formula, as you can see here. We have the expected units to be sold plus our ending inventory that we're desiring, and then we would subtract out any beginning inventory. Now, why do we subtract that out? We subtract it out because we're not going to be producing those this month. That would be from a prior month. So we do not include that in our analysis, okay? So in this example, we're given the sales figures that we are expecting, the sales budget for the first 4 months. Now, the desired ending inventory, we would have to go back to our given example. Here it says that they begin the year with 3,000 units in inventory. They want to end each month with 25% of the next month's projected sales. So we know that we're expected to sell 20,000 from what's given up above. How do we know what the desired ending inventory is? Well, they do say in here that it's going to be a portion where our ending inventory is going to be a portion of the next month's projected sales, okay? So for example, and then this estimated beginning inventory was given to us. And you can see here that our ending inventory becomes the beginning inventory for the next period. Just like the 6,250 becomes the beginning inventory in March. Now, these figures here that you see for the desired units in ending inventory, it's 25% of the following month's projected sales. So you would take the 25% times projected sales, so 25% of 22,000, that would be where we're getting the figure from. So we have these assumptions that we have to use when we're going through these different steps. Now, the direct materials purchasing budget, we're really doing kind of the same thing, but here we're going to be adding a dollar value. So in this demo example, we have the same formula with the materials required for production. You know, we add in the ending materials inventory, we subtract out beginning materials inventory in order to determine how much we have to purchase in direct materials. So we're given these assumptions: 2 pounds of materials per unit is required. Material costs 60 cents per pound. There is an estimate of 4,000 pounds of material inventory on January 1st. And then our desired inventory levels for materials is 5,000 pounds. So let's determine how we got these figures, okay? So we're going to have to use a little bit of the information from the previous problem. So materials required for production, this would just be the 22.5 from this earlier example times the 2 pounds gives us the 45,000. Now, the desired ending inventory here was given to us in part 4. We add those together to get the total units that we need. Then we would subtract out the beginning materials inventory, which it gives us here in number 3. Once you subtract those amounts, you are ending up with 46,000 units to be purchased. However, it tells us here that the material cost is 60 cents per pound. So 60 cents times the 46,000 units gives us 27,600 total direct materials to be purchased. Now, these are dollar values, not unit values that we've been previously looking at, okay? Now, we're going to also do the estimated cash receipts. Now, we talked in the lecture this week about the estimated cash receipts budget and how useful it is, okay? So what we're going to be looking at here is how do we factor in all of these assumptions in the cash receipts budget? Now remember, if we fall below that minimum cash balance every month, we may have to borrow funds to cover those amounts, okay? Here it says that we have the following sales for March, April, and May. You can see these are given. Now I'm going to go over with you how these amounts were determined. It says that Carson sells 30% of its merchandise to cash customers. Of those sales on credit, 10% will be collected in the month of sales, 75% collected in the month after the sale, and 15% will be collected in the second month after the sale. So we would take this amount here. What we have done is we're only looking at cash sales, and it tells us that 30% of its merchandise is to cash customers. So we would take the 270,000 for March times the 30% to give us this cash amount. So this represents all of the cash that we make that month as a cash sale. Now the rest of these items that you see are going to be the amount sold on credit. So for example, this 189 here, you would take the 270,000 minus our cash sales to give us this amount collected, the 189,000. You take that times 10% to give you the amount that we collect in the month of sale. Now remember here, it says 75% will be collected in the month after sale. So if these were the March sales, then 75% of the 189,000 would be collected in April. And then the remaining 15% is collected 2 months after the sale. So this would be collected in May. Now keep in mind that this would normally be done in Excel. We'd also probably program this into our ERP system to determine these amounts. And we could also probably change the variables. 10% and the 10% collected in the month of sale is an assumption. It may vary based on the organization that you're working in. For this organization, it works for them. Now, 75% being collected the month after the sale, it's about reasonable. I would probably put it about 70% because you may have timing issues with payment. You may have contracts or something with delivery. So it may vary, but this is a good starting point with the assumptions. Now, we would do the same thing for April sales and also the May sales. For April, we would take, this is the collected amount, the credit amount. So we've already backed out the 63.6 of our cash sales from the April totals of 212 to give us a 148,400. So 10% in the month of sale, which is April, 75% in the month of May. We aren't going to show the following month where we would collect the additional 15%. But you kind of see the trend here. You just follow the same protocol for every month. Now, May sales, it's only going to show the 10% that we collect in the month of the sale. And then we would collect the 75% in June and then the 15% in July. What we don't show here that would be good to show is if they had a minimum cash balance that they had to adhere to. So if their minimum cash balance was, you know, 15,000, we might want to also put that in here to give us an idea of how much we're going to need to cover of our expenses, because we're only looking at the sales portions, the collection portions. We'd also want to balance this against cash purchases and expenses, okay, to give us a good understanding of where we fall into this, okay? So this is a great overview of the different types of budgets that we discussed in our session today. I will be posting this for you, and I'm also going to make another short video covering some of the websites that we didn't get to go through. So I hope we'll save this for you, and hopefully if you have any questions between now and when we meet again, I will be here to answer them for you. I'll see you in the discussion this week. Thanks and take care.